Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's MTPredictor video, I'd like to follow on from what I've been talking about recently and show how we can use multi-time frame analysis to be able to uncover some great trades on the shorter term charts. In this particular example, I'll be looking at a lovely Holy Grail buy setup that's returned just over 9-hour profit that's unfolded earlier today, which is Thursday, May the 21st. So let's start by looking at the higher time frame on the NQ. This is what we do and what we teach in our MTPredictor customer webinars. This is a 3-minute chart of the NQ. I'm using NinjaTrader 7 here and our MTP RT add-ons for NinjaTrader 7 in this video. Let's go out to the higher time frame chart. This is the 15-minute chart. Now the beauty about our higher time frame analysis is we use our DPs. Now these are decision point levels, the areas where the markets are likely to make a resistance or support, in other words reversals. A great example from a couple of days ago is if I take a DP off this high, you can see that gave an area which caught the high of the day yesterday where the market reversed and then came back down again, but that's just an aside. What I want to show today is before today even opened. So what I'll do is I'll actually put some more white space on the right hand side and I'll move the chart back to as it was before today even opened to show you how powerful this is. So before today even opened, you can see we had a prior pivot low here. Can you see that? Which is basically that pivot low there. In other words, it's the the low before the last swing up into that high. So to project the DP level, we right mouse click over that pivot, select decision point, and there you can see it's on the chart in advance. That would have been there before today even opened. So let's see what happened today. Well, the market came down, it made a low right at in that level. Remember, that was on the chart in advance, and the market's rallied fairly significantly since. I'll just take the right hand space off so I've got a bit more chart to work with. Right, let's see how now you can uncover a trade setup. So if we're looking on the 3-minute chart, remember this was on the chart in advance. So as the market opened, there was yesterday, as the market opened and came down here, you knew you were at higher time frame support, therefore you were looking for a potential rally, and that's exactly what it did. I'll just drag this across a bit. Now, one of my favorite trade setups, in fact one of my two favorite trade setups, is what I call a Holy Grail trade setup. In Elliott wave terms, this is where you trade off the end of a wave 2 to catch the wave 3 swing, which is the strongest and longest and completed 5-wave sequence. So what we're looking for is an initial move, for example up here, then an initial correction. If I do right mouse click, do Elliott wave minor, you can see this is what we had, a wave 1, then a wave 2, then after that the market rallied up strongly. So what are we looking for here for a trade setup? Well, ideally, a wave 2 in Elliott wave terms should subdivide into a minor ABC pattern. That allows us to identify the end of the wave 2 more accurately. This didn't happen on our 3-minute chart, but if you'd had your scanners running and gone down to the 1-minute chart, you'll see this exactly what we had unfold here. It actually manifested in our TS1 buy setup. If I right mouse click, place the analysis on, you can see there's our ABC pattern. Now the beauty about doing this is because we use my unique way of looking at Elliott waves, which is in isolation, we don't require the market to be in sync all the time. We don't require all the patterns to be consecutive or running together like most Elliott wave tuition. We have a far better way of doing Elliott wave. In other words, we look at it in isolation. So in this particular case, we're looking for an initial move, an initial correction, that initial correction to unfold as an ABC, which it did here. We're then looking for a buy setup, which we had unfold as our TS1 here. We're then looking for the move into the wave 3, or the typical wave 3 WPT. As you can see, these are on the chart for you. So we wouldn't be looking to go into our first target. We'd be looking to go into our typical wave 3 WPT target, which if I drag the risk reward up to that level, you can see gave us a potential profit of 9R. Remember, we use correct position sizing to vary our number of lots, contracts or shares to keep our initial risk small, in this case less than 2% of a sample $20,000 account. You can see the market moved beautifully up to there, where a potential 9.4R profit, or a profit of approximately or just over 9 times greater than the initial risk was available. Yes, the market's moved a little bit higher, since, but we don't worry about that, because if you can make profits that are 9 times greater than the initial risk, you're on a really strong footing to have a successful trade plan. But this was all set up because we had our 15-minute support on our chart in advance. This is the beauty of doing our multi-time frame analysis in MTPredictor and the tools we have in MTPredictor. So you identify these important or higher time frame support and resistance areas in advance to get you prepared for these levels. Then when the market finds support or resistance at these levels, you can then use that to start your Elliott wave sequence. In other words, this was support at a higher time frame, or what we call an important low. Therefore, you knew that this was the initial move, wave 1. You knew this was the initial correction, wave 2. That is why we set up the move into the typical wave 3 WPT. So hopefully this has been a really good example of how we can use how we can tie in our multi-time frame analysis with my unique isolation approach to Elliott wave to be able to uncover a very good trade setup. And I think this is one of the best trade setups there is, because the end of a wave 2 gets you in with a small controlled risk to position you for the strongest move in an Elliott wave sequence, which is usually the wave 3. In other words, that gives you the smallest initial risk for the largest profit. That's why I've nicknamed it a Holy Grail trade setup. Not because it has a high accuracy, but because the profits are much, much larger than the losses or the initial risk when they come through. So hopefully this has been a good example to show you how we use the tools in our MTPredictor toolset to first of all uncover support or resistance areas in advance, and then be able to uncover great trade setups off the back of those as the markets have unfolded. So a great example of an MTPredictor Holy Grail trade setup that's unfolded on the NQ today, which is Thursday, May the 21st.